Greetings. I'm Pastor R.A. McGee of the ICANN Church here in Newark, Ohio. The ICANN Church is Christian Assembly Newark. We're located at 32 North 26th Street. 10 a.m. Sunday morning is our service time. Everybody's welcome. So today I'd like to start out with a story. So this hunter was out in the wild, about in the deep, dark jungle, and he was walking along, and all of a sudden he come across this pygmy. This pygmy, he's about 4 foot tall, and he's standing there beside a dead elephant. And the hunter walked up to that pygmy and he said, "How in the world did a little fellow like you kill that big elephant?" The pygmy said, "Well, I killed him with my club." And that hunter was astonished. He said, "With your club?" He said, "Well, just how big is your club?" The pygmy said, "Oh, there's about 60 of us." So anyway, so he had plenty of help. So what I want to get in today is, Hebrews 12:1. So we all have burdens in our life. We all have issues that happen around us, things we just can't control. A lot of times it's it's health. It could be a lot of things going on in our lives, but we get distracted from serving God. We get depressed about things in our life, and we feel like we just can't commit to God. And a lot of times we feel like, what's the use? Why should I serve God? And the truth is, it's been like this since time began. Mankind has always had to fight their emotional issues and fight with themselves about serving God. So I want to start today off with Hebrews 12:1. So here we are. We're in Hebrews, the Hebrew church, and it says, "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us." So let's see what we're talking about here. "Wherefore, seeing we are also compassed about with a great cloud of witnesses." Just like that pygmy. He had a whole club behind him. He had a whole group behind him, and they could go out and they could, do what they need to do to survive. So nobody's in this by themselves. We're all in this together. And the best part about serving God together is that your friends and family at the church, those ones you know and serve God with, they want you to succeed. We all want to succeed together. And just as that pygmy succeeded because he had his 60-member club, they succeeded and we can succeed. So what are we talking about here in Hebrews? It says, "Compassed about with a great cloud of witnesses. Let us lay aside every weight." So when the scriptures talk about let us lay aside, it's not saying God is going to take every burden from us. It doesn't say God is going to let us just slide through with hardly any kind of trials. We are a tested and tried people. We are a people that will be tried just as gold in the fire. All the chaff will be burned away and will be as pure gold. So when it talks about let us lay aside, it's talking about those weights. And a lot of time that weight that besets us, that heavy burden we have in us, is our previous life. A lot of things have happened since we've got saved. A lot of things have happened before we got saved. And things that before we got saved can still come back to bother us. How we used to react to things, how we used to think about how we got through problems. We've always had a way of doing it. So what does this talk about when it says lay aside? So we know it talks about lay aside. It actually literally and figuratively means to cast it off. So that old man, that old dead man that we have in our life, that guy that gives us all the trouble, this guy right here, that old man, we're to just cast him off because that's what God expects us to do. So when we cast it off, we throw it away. Never to look back, never to see it again. And what is this weight that we're talking about in Hebrews 12? What is this weight? The weight is a mass, a burden, a hindrance, something that is holding us back, some great weight that we feel we have to carry through life that we can't just get rid of. God says, cast it off. Cast all your care upon Him. So that weight. And then it says to run, let us run with patience. And I don't know about you, but it is very hard to be patient in the middle of a trial. in the middle of a situation, in the middle of something going wrong in our lives. It's very hard to be patient. But it says, let us run. So let us run in this text actually means to run, walk hastily. So it doesn't mean we're supposed to hurry and get to it or hurry to deal with it. We're to do what God wants now, to do it as God expects us, to walk hastily, to stay on course. Let us run. So what is patience in this text? And you'll get a kick out of this. It says cheerful endurance. Now, does those two words even sound like they go together? Cheerful endurance. So that patience, cheerful endurance, hopeful, to be constant in it, to just give it to God. So that patience in our race in this text is interesting too, because it talks about a race, and we talk about our race for the Lord. We're in the race. It's not to the swift, it's not to the fastest, it's to him that endures to the end. But it's not the way I want it. It's not the path I set before me. It's the path that God sets before all of us. So there's an actual course that we have to go by, an actual race that we belong to, not just what we think. We don't just run and do what we want to do in a race. If we're going to run a 440 relay or something, we can't cut across the middle of the field, get to the other side, beat everybody. So it's not us doing it. We have to run the race that God says. So it's interesting, in race it says a place of assembly. So a structured race is what we're talking about here in Hebrews. So laying aside all those weights that beset us, to just cast off those old weights, run the race cheerfully, endurance, for God is with us through all things. So it's also interesting to me that, as God moves in our lives, and I've seen people that's been in their church their whole life. I can tell you, I've had trials in my life too, and I have trials every day. We all go through trials, but the main thing God wants us to do is to go through it the way He wants us to go through it. And going through it the way He wants us to go through this trials and tests of our soul and our carnal life around us is to live for Him and live with each other, go to church. That's the most important part. We're not to forsake the assembling of ourselves together. We're to run with patience that race that is set before us and to cast off that old life that we left far behind. So again, this is Pastor R.A. McGee at the I Can Church, because I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. 32 North 26th Street, 10 a.m. Sunday morning. Please, anybody would like to come out. We were having church every Sunday. And God bless you. And if you have any questions and want to talk to me, my phone number is on the Facebook account. God bless.